South Asia that was once considered India's backyard now has to deal with increasing Chinese influence. Right from Islamabad to Colombo to Dhaka to Kathmandu, China, it seems, is here to stay in South Asia. WION's correspondent in Nepal, Siddhant Sibal, brings you a special report all the way from Kathmandu, how things have changed on the ground there.
When in Rome, do as the Romans do, goes a saying. But if China has its way, when in Kathmandu, do as the Chinese do. China is increasing its influence in the whole of South Asia, from the Maldives to Nepal. Just walk around the bazaars of Kathmandu and one can't miss noticing China's presence. It's omnipresent across the city. From signboards to Chinese tourists, to businesses, to hotels, go to shops and you will find many of them being owned by Chinese. Chinese currency changers are everywhere.
Tourists तो world के आते हैं, लेकिन ज़्यादा dependent अब Chinese पे हुआ. बीच में लेकिन जो बुनचाल हुआ था इधर से बहुत फर्क आ गया, लगभग 70% कम आ रहे हैं अब Chinese. क्योंकि रोड से आते थे बहुत सारे, प्लेन से सब नहीं आ सकते हैं, तो रोड तो बंद हो गया, पहाड़ गिर गए, तो उससे फर्क हो गया.
China has quietly flooded Kathmandu.
There seems to be a growing influence of China here in Kathmandu. I'm standing in the Thamel area of Kathmandu, which is the business district of this city. There are over 200 Chinese shops and hotels in this place itself. And you can even get a China SIM if you're flying to China from Nepal. And the influence is so much that even the signboards are here are in English and in Chinese.
Tourism, which forms an essential part of Nepal's economy, has a major Chinese role today. China is the second largest source of foreign tourists to Nepal. Over 100,000 Chinese tourists visit Nepal annually. But it's difficult to start a conversation when they don't know English and you don't know Chinese.
Travel, tourist.
Sorry.
Okay, you want to go.
A walk through the markets explains how China is here to stay.
Before it was very nice. After the earthquake and blockade, there are no more tourists. Before, there are lots of tourists anytime, no any off season. Nowadays, during the season also no more tourists.
Okay.
Very few. Is usually are here.
Okay.
Normally.
Okay.
Lots of them have their own business in here.
80% of the signs in the tourists' guide shops are in Mandarin. The government of Nepal had waived visa fees for Chinese tourists since January 2016. So what is making China-Nepal ties grow stronger? Nepali journalist Jubaraj Jimiri believes the ties haven't been impacted by any issues.
Nepal-China relations, diplomatic relations, are more than six decades old now. And there have rarely been any misunderstanding. One, the scale of, diplomatic relation was not that, massive. Two, Nepal and China didn't have much bigger problems. Even the boundary disputes they sorted out, whereas it's not been sorted out in India. Third, China adopted a very realistic approach in the sense that it always advised Nepalese that China cannot substitute India in Nepal.
Even as India-Nepal ties hit a low, China was making rapid progress with Kathmandu. In recent years, China has emerged as one of the largest FDI contributors to Nepal. The economic engagement between the world's second largest economy and the Himalayan country has kept on growing.
There's a growing influence of China in Kathmandu and rest of Nepal. China has even proposed a connectivity plan that connects China, Nepal and India. But India has said that it would rather pursue its own connectivity plans with Nepal. Clearly, China is the elephant in the room, and the growing Chinese influence in Kathmandu worries New Delhi. With video journalist Neeraj Patel, Siddhant Sibal from Kathmandu for WION.
Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi and his Nepalese counterpart KP Oli will jointly inaugurate many key projects when they meet later this week. Both the leaders will be holding bilateral talks in Kathmandu. WION's correspondent Siddhant Sibal telling us how Kathmandu is preparing for Indian Prime Minister Modi's visit there.
Well, Kathmandu city is all decked up to welcome the Indian Prime Minister, his third visit to Nepal. And I'm right now standing in Thapatali, that is the center of Kathmandu city, where, of course, the cavalcade of the Indian Prime Minister will pass. You can see behind me, the flags are up, the Indian flags, and of course, the Nepali flags are up. And of course, a lot of vehicles passing through this portion of the city, because that's the central part of the city, the entire area. And of course, police personnel have also been increased. Their strength has been increased in the city. 1,500 policemen will be out on the streets of Kathmandu so that no untoward incident happens. But as you can see, the city is geared up to welcome the Indian Prime Minister's visit, his third visit. And Nepal is the only South Asian country where the Indian Prime Minister has been to thrice, that is 3 times. And of course, on the cards will be infrastructure, faith, and of course connectivity. Faith diplomacy will be something that will be watched keenly, because in all the cities the Indian Prime Minister goes, whether it's Janakpur, where he'll go to Janki Mandir, whether it is Kathmandu, here he'll go to Pashupatinath temple, or whether it's Muktinath, where he will visit a Shiv temple. With my video journalist Neeraj Patel, this is Siddhant Sibal for WION in Kathmandu.